What's up, tycoons? What's up, traders? Super excited for today's video. Nano Dimension is authorized now to repurchase 227.5 million American depository shares. The company said it may repurchase all or a portion of the authorized repurchase amount, and the stock rose more than 7% in trading today. So we're going to break down all of that in today's video. Be sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, and let's go ahead and get into it. As always, the content provided on this channel is for informational and educational purposes only and is not intended to be relied upon as legal, financial, or investment advice. So please be sure to read through the full disclaimer. Today's video is sponsored by Simply Wall Street. Right, you can get a 14-day free trial and up to 40% off for the first 100 people that join using the link in the description below. We're actually going to use them in today's video to dive into some of the fundamentals of Nano Dimension and look at why so many people are attracted to the stock. So here we are on the Simply Wall Street platform, and we're going to take a look at the financial health of the company, right? If you take a look at the balance sheet health, it gets an amazing 5 out of 6 on the criteria checks on Simply Wall Street. So if you guys are not a pro at fundamental analysis, Simply Wall Street has their pros doing the fundamental analysis for you guys. And if we take a look here, we can see that short-term liabilities, long-term liabilities, its debt level, stable cash runway, and forecast runway, those are all areas where it gets checks. And the one check that it doesn't get on is reducing debt. And the very simple reason that is because they had zero debt previously, right? And they're in the works of trying to, purchase Stratasys. All right, they already earn or own a certain amount of Stratasys, but they're actually in a battle with 3D Systems, ticker symbol DDD. And the two of them are basically battling it out, trying to purchase more of Stratasys. But when you take a look here, look at their debt to equity ratio. It's less than 0.1%. It's actually at 0.09%. And they only have a debt of about $1.03 million. So you can see here that their assets of 1.02 billion largely outweighs their liabilities. Okay. And their long-term assets of 187.81 million largely outweighs their 15.64 million in liabilities. So that looks very, very good from a balance sheet perspective. You can see their debt to equity, history and analysis. As I mentioned, it's been zero for a very long time. And you can see here, it has gone up just a little bit, but it's only gone up to a 0.1%, right? That 0.09% that we've been talking about. All right. Again, the balance sheet looks really, really good here. You take a look at their assets, liabilities, and equity, their cash runway analysis. Okay. They have sufficient cash runway for more than 3 years based on its current free cash flow, and it has sufficient cash runway for more than 3 years if the free cash flow continues to reduce at historical rates of 37.5% per year. They don't pay a dividend or anything, but this is just one section really of, some of the fundamental analysis that Simply Wall Street has. It's a really amazing platform. I've used them for a while and definitely glad to have them as a sponsor. So, be sure to use that link in the description below. All right. What I want you guys to do is use that 14-day free trial, look up Nano Dimension on there, really dive deep into some of the fundamentals, and also look up some of your favorite stocks that you own or that you want to own. You have nothing to lose, and I promise you're really going to love the platform. Don't forget, if you do choose to sign up using the link in the description, you will get up to 40% off. Now, let's dive into the charts and break down some of the recent price action. If we zoom in here, we talked about how previously in the last video, we're coming up and we hit our bullish price targets here of 3.22, and we were not able to sustain above there, right? If you take a look, we put in this rounded top right here. This is definitely signs of topping, and we started pulling back, right? You could say we had some, controlled selling here, right? Controlled selling channel in between here, and we actually just recently broke out of that channel based on the news. Now, what I really want to highlight is something known as gaps. Okay, so we have these series of boxes on the chart, right? We have this blue box, we have this blue box. Take a look how there was a gap right in between here. Okay, we actually just filled that gap coming up today off of the large rally on Nano Dimension. Right now, what you have to keep in mind is that these gaps, they tend to fill about 90% of the time. So, if you're looking for an opportunity to get in Nano Dimension, I do think that it's very possible that we could fill this gap down here that we just created today on the gap up of the news, and potentially even the gap down here. Now, remember, These gaps, they tend to fill about 90% of the time. So there is the 10% chance that these gaps won't fill. And the big question with these gaps is when they're going to fill, not so much if they're going to fill, right? They could fill within a very short period of time, such as this gap did. It filled within 3 trading days. And if you take a look, we've had this gap down here since June 29th, and we still have not even filled that gap. So, I really just like to set these up on my chart and set some alerts near the gaps. So that way I can be alerted of any trading opportunities when we're approaching a gap and potentially look to trade inside of the gap and try to trade that gap fill. One thing I want to point out on the RSI is we had this previous bearish divergence trend line. We broke out through there, and we're actually retesting it right now. So we need to be very mindful, right? If we stay below this relative strength trend line here, it's very possible that the stock could continue to drop and try to fill this closer gap down to about 280, 281. But if we can get back above this trend line and flip it to support, then we have the chance of coming up and retesting 322. Now, above 322, our price targets are 351, 366, and then we also have 388, right? Those are going to be the bullish price targets throughout 2023 until we hit those. Into the downside, we have 282 as support, we have 269, and we have 257. These are all a lot of the key levels that I'm looking at today. Now, Nano Dimension is a very slept on AI stock, right? I've dropped several videos, like 3 whole videos going over, their AI capabilities and how they're using AI to improve upon the 3D printing space and 3D printing industry. They're definitely ahead of the game right now when it comes to using AI for 3D printing. And this is definitely a stock that I think you guys should keep on your radar. Now, whether or not this is something that you guys want to invest in, or whether you think there's any good trading opportunities, that's up to you. Don't forget, you can use that free trial of Simply Wall Street and go ahead and check out and dive deeper into some of the fundamentals of Nano Dimension and take a look at whether or not this is something that you guys would be potentially interested in owning. I appreciate you all watching the video. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel for more. I just started a free newsletter giving out free trade ideas every single week, as well as going over some really good content that will come straight to your inbox. Remember, that's completely free. It doesn't cost anything, and it will really help support the channel out. The link to join that is in a pinned comment down below or the description as well.